All right, this is my third time going into the book of Exodus, and I'm going straight in. Chapter 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. So, now these are the names of the children of Israel. So now God is speaking he's getting ready to tell us about not just this man Jacob, but he's getting ready to talk about all the things that will connect from then up until now, the children of Israel. And the name Israel means God's contend. God will fight for us. God's total preserve these people. Now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. They're going down to where Joseph was. Every man and his household came with Jacob. The children of Israel by this man named Jacob. Who are they? Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin. All of these were sons of Jacob. Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. These are the 12 sons of Israel, or the 12 sons of Jacob. And all of the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Jacob was in Egypt already. So he's given us the names of these the males of the sons of Jacob. And they're emphasized. And then it goes on to say that all of the souls that came from this guy were 70. And their names are broken down in the book of Genesis. So in order to understand Exodus, you must have a good foundation of what's going on in Genesis. Joseph is already in Egypt. Now, when I looked at the words, there were 70 souls, and I counted. I'm always interested in the numbers of what I'm reading sometimes. And I kept getting 69. And then one time this guy included, he included Jacob having to be that 69th. But you can't come out of the loin, and I said it too in one of my videos, because it seemed like, okay, I got to get to 70. And then I looked yesterday, and it was again saying that the souls that entered Egypt were 70. And then I had to realize that for whatever reason, Dana had to be counted as that 70th person. Because when he talked about the 12 sons, and they had sons, and they all inclusive, including Joseph, it was 70. Because Joseph was already there. But the person that made that 69th, since she was counted, had to be Dana. And so what I'm learning is that as we learn the word, we're going to grow in the word. That means there's some things are going to fall off, and some things are you're going to get a better understanding. It doesn't mean that the person does not know what they're talking about, and perhaps it does. Perhaps I didn't. But as I learned the word, because I try to go to other people who know more than I do to help me out, and I ask a lot of questions. And so I'm going to conclude right now, if it matters, that 70th person was, after these sons, was Dana, which was inspiring, because a lot of times God uses, the male, but some kind of way Dana name showed up. Dana name showed up even when they were giving birth, when there were daughters with an S on it. But her name came up, and she was counted as the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. But Jacob was in Egypt already. So, and if you know, I don't mind comments. Please add the comments. Let's just add this thing. It's not, maybe to some people it's not a big deal, but to me, it just shows the excellency of God keeping his word even to the details of what he left us to know. All right, so verse 1 through 5 talked about the Jacob's boys and in their families that are all not all named. Now verse 6, and Joseph died. Joseph died in the last chapter of Genesis, and all his brothers died. Joseph died, and all these guys I just named died, and all that generation, their grandchildren, Joseph's grandchildren died, the one that was on his knee. So that whole generation and all this about Joseph, that whole generation is gone. So let's say that everybody that's probably, and Joseph lived to be 110, let's just say that that generation lasts, let's give it about 100 years, and that those people died. Or it might have been a little longer than that. But anyway, all we know is that Joseph died, his brothers died, and everybody connected to that original set died. But they had children. Let's see what happened after that. And the children of Israel were fruitful. So they did produce more children and increased abundantly. They had a lot of babies. Because if Jacob had 70 under his belt, and just think about all of the other guys who had babies, and they had a lot. The Bible said they increased, they were fruitful. In other words, they were not barren, they were producing babies, and they increased abundantly. That means the men were able to produce the baby and the women were able to deliver. And increased abundantly a lot and multiplied. They kept on and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. So these people came through Jacob, the children of Israel. They're not known as the children of Jacob, they're not known as the children of Israel. And they had a lot of them. And what made them set apart? The way they behaved, the way they thought, the things that they knew. Because the next verse there, and the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. A section over there in Goshen, they were cowboys. They took care of cattle and they took care of animals, and the Egyptians didn't deal with people like that because they were basically, from my understanding, they didn't eat meat, vegetarians. And anybody that ate meat they thought was detestable. Ugh. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. In other words, he lost the history. It wasn't told to them. Some years had gone by. Joseph is dead. His brothers are dead. His grandchildren are dead. Everything connected that can tell you about Joseph was dead. But yet and still, these people were together. And the king of Egypt noticed them folk over there that deal with them animals. There's a lot of them. Now there arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. He should have stopped right there. The children of God's protection, the children that God has preserved, the children that God will fight for, are more and mightier than we. That should have been the end. You just said that God protects them. There's more of them, and they are stronger. So is that enough to tell you, say, what need you talk any further? That's it. But he didn't do that. And he said unto his people, he kept talking, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. And he said that, which was true. Come on. Now he added something to it. Let us deal wisely with them. Let's deal wisely with them. Lest they multiply. And it come to pass that when they fall out any war, when there falls out a war, they join unto our enemies and fight against us and go get them up out of this land. In other words, he said, now this guy just sitting up there, nothing to do. It's something about a king when he had nothing to do. There is something about a king when there is nothing to do, that his mind, with all of that power and influence and, over people, and he decides, I need to come up with a plan. A lot of kings make decisions for whatever reason and involve other people in their madness. He's thinking of this. He's watching over there. There's a lot of them over there. I'm watching them. They're getting too, it's a lot of them. I got to do something about that. The children of Israel were not doing anything but increasing, keeping their end of the bargain, staying in their lane. And somebody is preparing to say, y'all may try to come against me. Didn't give you any indicator that I would do that. But you imagined that I would, and in your imagination, you decide to make something real and get other people to get involved with your creative mind. And you said, let us deal wisely with these folk, except they kind of, connect with our enemies and then fight against us and leave. Even hearing him talk like that, it doesn't sound right. I gave you no reason to do a plan against me. You thought of a reason and you acted upon it. And you do the next verse. He said, let's deal wisely. Therefore they did set over them taskmaster. This guy thought of this thing to afflict them with their burden, just because the king said, I think they might get out of control. I can see if the people are doing something to cause that. When I read that, I said, but these guys doing it, but having babies, getting big, standing in their lane, not bothering anybody. And then somebody just got to wake up in the morning and get an idea, so let's do something about this. So they decided what they were already busy. They were not lazy people. And he put a taskmaster to afflict them, to make things hard. People like, what's up, where they come from? And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities. In other words, you're not just going to be a farmer or a cowboy. Y'all getting ready to build me treasure cities. I'm getting something that I can make money off of. Pithom and Ramses. Now, the first time I saw Ramses is when Esau's descendants. If you go back and look at the descendants of Esau, and out of his loins came one of these guys whose name I saw was under Ramses. So it's really basically your cousins that you forgot how related we are is getting ready to set up an ambush for you unnecessarily, because the king is not going to God for direction. He just started dealing with his own I don't know the word, limitations, dealing with his own dealing with the spirit of the devil. And he acted upon it. He said, but the more they made things hard for them, the more they multiplied. The more they made hard for them, you getting ready to go. Do you know who these people are? The children who God protects. And the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. The more that you do me wrong, the more God allows me to be multiplied. I'm not sure why that makes sense, but it does. The more that they tried to hurt them, the more they grew. Leave God people alone. And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. In other words, we can't hurt these folks. Look like the more we do to them. Now, all of this started because a guy had in his head, for no valid reason, we need to do something about them folk growing like that. People make laws like that all day long. We need to set up a law to get this guy. What are you doing with your mind? that when you have that type of power that you could just think of reasons and use your authority to just crush somebody. I work with principals like that. I work with a lady like that, assistant principal. That lady just concocted ideas. It was like, I just actually be honest with you. I said, are you crazy? I'm coming to work to do my job and doing my job, but you find some way to afflict me or call me in a meeting constantly, just harass me until I'm about to call that name. That was about that team, that principal and the assistant principal. You had to be out of your mind to do that. And I wonder sometimes, what's your purpose? What's your purpose? You thought I was going to work under you like that? You thought I was going to continue to bring all that I know and try to help children under your being my taskmaster? No. I'm just saying that it still happens today when you got ungodly people who sit around and just discuss ungodly things and then try to make life hard for you unnecessarily, only to get me to where I was supposed to be anyway. Thank you. Because I moved from there and I got to a place that God had to allow me to learn that I could be more beneficial to his purpose. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. In other words, you started it, and now you didn't fix it, and you didn't get what it's not working. So you got to work a little bit harder to come against God's people, God's protection, the children of Israel, the people that God said, I preserve, I will contend, I will fight for. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. In other words, now you 1 minute late. If you want your job, anything that can bring you under restrictions, just hard things, just making it unnecessary. Anything that they thought we're gonna make it even more strict, we're gonna watch them. That's a lot of work on you, all because the king said it's too many of them, and he devised a plan to fight against God's people. What a waste. Anyway, and they made their lives bitter. In other words, with hard bondage. And because if you come on to me like that, I'm doing everything I know, you know I'm not gonna like it. And they made them hard work in mortar and making bricks and in all manner of services in the field. Everything they did, they made it hard on them. All their service, wherein they made them serve, was with rigor. You didn't do this right, do it over. You put too much, just a tiny bit of salt to in my egg. Go cook me more egg. Anything that you can think of. I see a brick that you didn't turn. You build my whole house, and that brick is not turned the right way. Build a house up. I see you wash my car, and I don't like my front tire on the inside. It just not washed right. Wash my car over. You cut my grass, and I see a corner of the section that's under that grass, and you didn't do it right. Just imagine working and being a part of somebody who treat people like that. 2020. I saw you. I supposed to have 39 French fries, and I don't give a. I got 38 and a piece of it gone. Just think of anything that you can think of what we do, and that's the rigor that was used to these people just to make their life. Not only in the movie they talked about them building the bricks and all of that, but the Bible said anything that they did, they made it hard on these folks. I don't like to. I see a stitch right here, and you ain't sew up. Make it over. Are we talking about 2020? Or are we talking about then? And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives. He said, no matter what we do to these folks, ain't nothing working. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives. These folk that was the gynecologist. These folk didn't help the women have babies. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Pua. They didn't have no pretty names. Shiphrah, hey Shiphrah, and Pua. I can imagine how these ladies look. That's me being me. And he said, I need to see y'all. When you do the office of a midwife, when y'all work, and this the king talking. What kind of craziness is this? You are the person in the government that's supposed to be looking out for people, and you plotting against your own people. What kind of king are you? You're the leader. And you calling these women in and said, you talking to the women that's the doctors. Yeah, when y'all get ready to deliver them babies. See what he said. When you go to the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women and see them on the stool and they get ready to deliver a baby, if it be a boy, then you shall kill him. This the king talking. This is the same guy that set up and didn't have anything to do. And now he, what? You concocted all of this with your mind. If it be a boy, then you shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then you let her live. Now, how stupid can you be that you ask the doctor to kill the strength of what you want? The boys. I'm sorry. I'm not strong as my sons. And you telling, you got a plan. You want to devise a plan to get rid of our men because you know that the boy child holds the seed and the girl child holds the incubator. And you're trying to get them to, I don't know what to try, but your whole thing is off. Kill the little boys and save the little girls. That's what he told the midwives or the doctor of the delivery. But the midwives feared God. These were Hebrew midwives. You hear what he told us to do? But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them. I ain't doing that. I fear God. I can't do it. I ain't getting up in that man. No, I am not going to kill the baby boys. I fear God. But he saved the men, children alive. Not only did they say it, they carried it out, not doing it. It's something that was told. I don't care how much we have forgotten all the things of God. There's something about the power of God's word that if I don't remember all the scriptures, it's something that I'm just not going to do. And that's something that we don't do as a people. We don't kill babies. I fear God. And I know, I don't remember a lot about my ancestor Joseph. And I don't remember all of my Naphtali and Simei and Levi. And I don't remember all that. But one thing I do remember is something about that name, the name of the word of God. Something about God. I'm not doing that. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives. He called each to the office. And said unto them, why have you done this thing? What is it, king? And have saved the men, children alive. Didn't I tell y'all to kill them boy babies? And the midwives said unto Pharaoh. Now they said this together. Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian. Absolutely. They're not like the Egyptian women. True that. For they are lively. Yep, they lively. And our delivered heir, the midwives come in unto them before we can even get to them. I already had that baby. That might be the truth. God may have had it like that. But I've heard several people say they lied. All I know is whatever they said they was not going to do, I fear God. And when I stand before Pharaoh, this is what I'm going to say. And he said, Therefore, God dealt well with the midwives. God said, all right, you did what you had to do. You were called into counsel. Therefore, God dealt well with the midwives. They said, you said, how is it that, was that true? Mm-hmm. Well, could it be a lie? Mm-hmm. Well, how did God deal with them like that? How is God able to deal with the midwives and they seem as if they told a lie? How does God deal with you? How does God deal with me? And then there was silence. Keep reading. Therefore, God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. They didn't stop anything. This kid, the king, sitting here just coming up with things to do. And I guess God is letting us know so that we can learn that when I've called you to do something and I have you as a prepared people, it doesn't matter who's plotting against you. I don't care how much authority they think they have. If you with me, I am authority. And he's showing us how the world works. The world is making laws. The world they come up with laws to support their habits and whatever they want to do against the word of God. And God is saying, not stopping anything. Therefore, God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. He didn't stop anything. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. God said, I'm going to give you some houses. I'm going to give you some stuff. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, I got to come up with another plan. Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river. Ladies and gentlemen, look at what the king that ought to be protecting the people saying. These people did nothing to deserve this. And he said, I got another plan. Cast them little boys into the river. How long is this supposed to last, Pharaoh? How long is this? Are you supposed to keep doing this? How long are you going to show your power and fear, to have people fear you because how long? And Pharaoh charged all his people, everybody. You see one of them Egyptian people, one of those Hebrew people, one of those Hebrew women having a little boy and they got a baby, cast that boy into the river. Let's think about 2020. What's causing us to cast our babies into the river? And every daughter ye shall save alive. It's the last verse. I'm interested in chapter 2. Talk to y'all later.